Chris Perillo, you ask, who buys creative products? I buy creative products. Right here. A piece of crap creative webcam. Well, that's not that nice. I mean, it did its job when I bought it in 2005, I'm pretty sure, but its resolution's pretty bad. But it still works. It still works, just the resolution's not that great. What else do I have sitting around here that's creative? Oh, right here. My creative headphones. These are the creative noise canceling headphones, HN605. You got the nice comfortable cups right there. They're pretty loud and they got great sound, and they might look like they're falling apart, but really it's just because they fold up like so. They're loud, they cancel out noise, and they were really cheap. They're only something like 40 bucks around there. It's really cheap for good noise canceling headphones, and they sound great. And I have had a few issues though. Right here, there used to be a little band right there to cushion your head, but now it broke, and so now when you put it on, you have long hair, or not even long hair, but it just pulls your hair right there, and it's kind of a bother. That, and right here, you might notice there's some tape on it. The latch broke, so now I have to tape it closed, so that's kind of a bummer. But they still sound really good, and they're still sound really good, and still block out noise. What else do I have that's made by Creative? Well, none other than my Creative Zen Vision M. This is one fantastic MP3 player. It's got FM radio, customizable wallpaper, 30 gigs, but here's the problem. It is thicker than your uncle's grandma. Well, look, that's one weird expression. But yeah, it is pretty thick. But then again, it did come out almost 4 years ago, and back then your 60 gig iPod, or 30 gig iPod, wouldn't be that much thicker. I mean, yeah. But other than its thickness, the only flaw I've had with it is that it likes to crash quite a bit. But I don't have to take out the battery or anything like my old one. I just have to take a safety pin and poke it right there. It is very annoying when it crashes, but I know this might sound horrible, but I'd rather use this than an iPod. I know it sounds really pathetic. No, I do not. I do not have this because I'm poor. I have this because I like Creative and not iPods. Now, if I had the money, would I buy a Zune, iPod, or a new Creative? Well, actually, I think I would have to buy. That's a very tough decision. I don't know if I'd rather buy a Zen and spend a bit extra for the new Zen X5 that's got like a web messenger and all that stuff. My problem with Creative now is that they dropped the high capacity MP3 players. I mean, the only one they have right now, I mean, they don't make 80 gig players. They only go up to 32 gigs, and if you want to go higher than that, you put in an SD card and you expand it for how much memory then you want to expand it to, an SD card. But back then, about a year later after this came out, you could get a 60 gig Vision M, and it was a bit thicker, so that would be a blast. That would be just an atrocious, having something even thicker than this. Yeah, good night. But they also had the Creative Vision, and that one is kind of like this, but instead of having a little screen and bigger buttons, it had smaller buttons and a bigger screen. It was more like a PMP. And they dropped it, and bummer deal, because I really like that one, just didn't have great battery life. Oh, by the way, this gets 14 hours battery life and 4 hours video, which is not bad, but not super great either. One good thing about this MP3 player, though, is that when I want to charge it, all I gotta do is use a PSP charger. PSP charger, that's all I gotta do. One con about it, though, is that you have to use a dongle type deal, like a little adapter. You stick it in the back here, and then you can plug in your PSP charger, which works perfectly, a standard USB cable to charge it, and an AV out if you want to pipe your video out to a TV. Yeah. But other than that, I mean, there's only one other thing. There's two other things actually. This is my brother's MP3 player used to be my mom's until she got a new one, and then that one broke. And long story, I'm not gonna go on. But yeah, this is a great little nice MP3 player. It's called a Creative Zen Nano. This is half a gig right here, and I think the battery's dead, so I can't really show the interface or anything. But it's a really nice MP3 player. It's only, when it came out, it was $50, which may seem like a lot of money for half a gig. This is also, I think, 3 years ago, and at that time a 1 gig shuffle was $80. So you could spend $80 on a 1 gig shuffle with no screen, or spend $50 for something with half a gig. I'm pretty sure that's the way it was. I could be wrong, but yeah. So yeah, this is a pretty good MP3 player. If you want to get yourself a cheap MP3 player that works and is really reliable, this has never crashed on anybody that's used this. But the only thing you have to worry about is, you know, filling it full of batteries. That's it. Yeah. So yeah, those are the creative devices I own. I think there's one other one. Yeah, I don't know where it went, but it was pretty much like the same as the Creative Zen Nano, but instead of just being one little thing, it, like the USB and, okay, so it's in two different sections. Camera right there. Basically, you had your MP3 player on one half, and you had your power on the other half. And if you wanted to plug it into your computer, you slide it apart, and it would become a thumb drive, and you put your songs on it that way. And that one I found in the street, and that only had a quarter of a gig, 256 megabytes, and it worked pretty good until I let it sit in my room or something, and I wanted to put music on, or I don't know what happened. But then I was gonna try it out, and I would listen to like 3 songs and it would shut off by itself. I don't know what the deal was, and then I was gonna try it again, and now if you look on a screen, you don't see anything on the LCD. So yeah, so yeah, I really like Creative's products. My problem with Creative anymore is that they don't have pretty much any good MP3 players. Well, actually, I do kind of like the X5. The problem is they don't have an 8 gig version. So what they need to do is make a comeback, make high capacity MP3 players. They need to make it a flash, like, what, 20 gig version, like a 16 gig, something small, have it flash, and then have a big 80 gig. Okay, they can have a 32 gig flash, and then have 80 gig hard drive base. And it needs to have a big screen like the Zune. It's got to have the FM radio. It's got to have the password protection for your videos and all that stuff, just like the Zen, just like the Zen Vision M. You know, just like the Zens, but thinner. And I don't want a built-in speaker. No built-in speaker. Just thin, big screen, great resolution, and it has to have a custom EQ. If there's no custom EQ, I'm not touching it. That's pretty much the main reason why I went with Creative, because I knew with Creative, one, not everybody owned one like an iPod, and two, because I can crank the bass up the way I wanted to, not with presets. So yeah, I'm a Creative person. I pretty much like any other MP3 player brand except for iPods. Yeah. So that was Vulgora. Stay tuned for more.